Everything in this house is falling apart.
You can't drink the water. The sewage backed up and filled up the floor with toilet paper.
It's miserable.
Looking from the outside into this place, it's beautiful. I mean, just like our business. People think one thing and don't realize what's really going on inside.
But perception is not reality.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States.
I shall continue to oppose efforts to legalize marijuana.
I inhaled frequently. That was the point.
What we're doing now is creating the next big tobacco of our time.
This is a highly regulated business.
We're talking about daylighting a black market activity.
We are on the cutting edge of a brand new industry.
This is absolutely the next gold rush. This is the green rush.
Now the dominoes are falling, especially when they see the economic revenue.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
So question, are you guys getting moved?
The town council voted, they approved us. This is such a good location, we don't want to move, for sure.
You shouldn't have to.
100% Brian's successful business plan has been built on location. As soon as recreational was approved, we hit about $1 million a month in our high tourist season, and I would say 80 to 90% of that's going to Brian.
Our landlord wants to jack our rent so high that we can't even afford to stay where we are. The best thing we can do is get into a building that's stable for us, either a long-term lease or
own our real estate.
This is more curiosity than anything.
Might talk you into buying something.
Well,
I just got a text about the steak and rib building down the road.
Yes.
I know, right? 2 stories, 500 feet from a school, with our own parking lot. It's like 4,000 square feet, and we have like 1,400 square feet right now.
We need that building.
I think we do. Our rent used to be $1,100 when we first moved in. Now it's $6,000 a month. Our landlord won't sell us the building because she wants a price war to happen. Then we'd be in a situation where someone buys it, jacks our rent so high that it's immediately not worth being down here anymore. Anyone who's been at the last several council meetings has realized there's been a very strong 4-3 vote to allow stores downtown, and this falls under every zoning scenario that we've ever contemplated.
As I think we were talking about a little bit, we can take down this paneling over here. There's a full door
covered up the door
behind it.
nice. All the weeds got to be on the second story. You can't have any weed stuff on the first, and then the first story could be like gift shoppy type.
I'm hearing that there's some votes coming up here.
Yeah, that might change some
that
things.
may change some things, but that is one of the beauties of this, is you could keep a food establishment and retail separately. Here's more dining, more space. This could be your back entrance here.
Is that a mixed-use building right there?
That is all residential, and that is town alley.
Okay.
So
So I think that's okay. A marijuana establishment can't be directly adjacent to a property solely for residents. I think as long as there's a road,
town
I think they
does own
can't
the alley.
touch.
Okay.
Do you guys see this as a restaurant with a weed store on top?
Yeah.
Right.
You got that down there bringing in revenue. You have upstairs bringing in revenue. You got the front spot, just, people wanting to be there. Fun
Gift shop,
atmosphere.
weed store, and restaurant.
I mean, we won't get qualified for a loan from a bank, so we need to talk to a private lender.
Currently, it's advertised for $1.9 million.
Everyone who owns any marijuana business in Colorado has to be a resident of Colorado. So real estate is a way for investors to kind of get their hands in the pot without actually owning any part of the marijuana business.
Yeah.
We all are in agreement that we love this building and that would work great. I think we could do so many different things with it. I would rather pay a high interest rate than give away ownership.
Absolutely.
Very intelligent thinking there.
We could have such a fun grand opening.
So good to see you.
You don't know how big of a relief you are. I was disabled in Afghanistan in 2011. We took a blast, and I have rods and screws in my back, in my spine. It fuses 6 different vertebrae together. The cannabis store knocks out about 5 or 6 bottles of medications. It's actually a much better alternative.
I'm hoping people will understand the difference between cannabis-based medicine and the medical marijuana movement. In Colorado, we sell, market, dispense medical marijuana like alcohol. if you and I walked into a pharmacy and there wasn't a pharmacist behind the counter, but instead was a drug tender who told you, hey, what painkillers would you like today?
What'd you say the lime green skunk was going to do for me?
That's going to be a little more uplifting.
What would you do? Is it okay to be selling marijuana as medicine without a dosage, without a duration?
Have you ever used a topical pain cream? Oh man, they're awesome.
Nobody can tell me with a straight face, especially a medical person, that this is following a medical protocol, that this is indeed focused on the patient. That's reckless, and that's what this industry is. It's reckless. It's about glamorizing marijuana use and getting as much sold as they can as quickly as they can.
Definitely, you said the jelly skunk.
I think so.
And I take whatever this man is gospel. The knowledge you all have is fantastic. Sonny and everybody in the shop was very informative to us, and they taught us more about the new age of cannabis.
Patch-wise, they're going to say what they do in here. CBN's good for muscle spasms, inflammation, and insomnia. You know, the biggest results we've seen are in like people with Parkinson's.
I want one of this and one of the blue drink.
Okay.
I'm all for it. I'm good. I'll pay the price. I'll pay the money. By God, I'm gonna get it, and he's gonna get some relief.
This is the best alternative that I've found. Thanks for everything.
Always.
Seriously. You guys are the best.
Will of the council right now, 4-3, is that we'd like to allow some retail sales of marijuana. We had 4 licensees out on Airport Road who were upset that they couldn't come to downtown Main Street.
The fight from an Airport Road perspective is for a fair and equal playing field. So when it comes to whether or not dispensaries are allowed on Main Street or not allowed on Main Street, it's simply from our perspective, either we're all allowed in a fair and equal manner or no one's allowed.
In the language, we would limit 1 premise per block that abuts Main Street, and then have an additional 100-foot proximity restriction between the businesses. Here's what you have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you have 1 up here. If you had them exactly in the right spot, you could get 8.
This makes me nervous. It's when I look at all these spaces. And is that real?
150.
What's physically available, but you don't know what the landlord's going to say.
But it would all, like, you know, all the stars have to line up. Every
money makes the stars line up.
Yeah, that's true.
I know we think it's such a wealthy industry, but I don't know if it's wealthy enough to completely reshape our Main Street. I don't think that's going to happen. But
I feel like we're moving too quickly on it. I think it would be better, and we'd make a better decision if we did get more input on the decision from the people it will affect the most.
I want to deal with it. One way to perhaps address your discomfort is to join me and vote no on this.
Public voted on it 3 times. You know, I feel like that was speaking up for it.
I think we're making it a bigger deal by continuing to drag this out.
I don't want to move on because I'm tired of talking about it. We have talked about this for several years. It's just now getting the restrictions and how we're gonna manage it. So that's why I want to move on.
We are setting very tightly controlled rules, which should set a de facto limit on the number of shops that are available. You know, 1 shop per block. Those kinds of rules is what we talked about. We haven't passed them yet, but council's moving much faster than I would want. I'd rather have more consensus on the issue than pass it on a divided council in a divided town.
They're going to allow downtown stores. It's fairly restrictive.
Meaning that steak and
So
rib
the steak and
wouldn't
rib doesn't
qualify.
qualify, I don't think.
Because there's that road.
There's an alley, not a road.
It would be adjacent to a residence, which would disqualify it as a marijuana
So I think we actually have to
building.
tell steak and rib people that it's out because of that zoning
Realistically, we have a ton of other issues now facing us that we have to...
Yeah, this is almost worse for us because we thought we were gonna have somewhere to go and get out of our building. Our building is gonna become a target for investors that want to buy our building simply to jack our rent up super high, bleed all those profits out without having to actually be a marijuana business owner. Now we're a target.
Oh.
Get out of here.
I do this every morning. Just waking them up, letting them know I'm thinking about them. People think the store is where the money is, but the real bread and butter's in the garden. Right now, this isn't worth much. Give us 100 days and we'll have $1 million worth of marijuana here. This is gonna get us out of our cash poor situation.
Yeah, just the little baby girls here. These plants are sitting at about a week's of age, just over a week. See, they just started rooting through the clone cubes, and at that point, once we see the roots, it's time for transplant. They need to be tagged before I transplant them. Kind of a tedious process. But here in the peaceful garden, I find it no trouble to relax and make my way through the day.
Getting ready to go out for the day and take advantage of his muzzleloader tag and my archery tag and see if we can't find some elk.
Bought a gun with marijuana money.
I think it's too late to fight the pot issue, but we can at least keep it from being downtown. We're a family-oriented place. We don't want it overrun with marijuana shops. We can't have 5 to 8.
Strategically, there's about 7 spots that might qualify for recreational sales of marijuana.
Not everyone agrees with you, Breckenridge Town Council, and we've not really had this opportunity as a community to have this debate, and we want you to let us have this debate.
I think the town council made a wrong move whenever they were like all or none. And all of a sudden going from removing the pot shop to 1 on every block, well, where did that come from?
The position of the majority of this council is to place Breckenridge as the #1 pot destination in the United States, if not the world.
There's a petition going on right now. I think that a lot of people are speaking up.
This whole petition is ridiculous. We're just trying to work, you know, now my job's at risk, my employees' jobs are at risk, everyone I employ, livelihoods, just because these people have enough money to do nothing with but try to shut us down.
I'm pro-business for everybody in this community, and I want everyone to have every opportunity to do well. That's what I'm about.
Oh yeah, I got no service.
And we got a ways to go. We're probably a quarter,
Maybe over
third
half,
of the way there.
maybe halfway to there.
There's something sitting on that rock right there. Right over that ridge there.
I moved to Colorado to enjoy the outdoors.
Why the does that bush look so much like antlers?
We love to snowmobile and ski and fish and be outside, but we just don't have the time to do that if we want to run this business the way it needs to be run. Our recreational days are limited to maybe a dozen in a year now.
Hi. How much does it cost? For a kid's duck, it's $10, or you can do a general race duck, and it's only $5.
So my day job, I work for the Summit Foundation. We're the overall nonprofit in Summit County, similar to United Way in other communities.
Okay.
So we give back to other nonprofits through grants. Duck race, 27th annual. 10,000 ducks will come down the river. This fundraiser is the largest fundraiser in Summit County, to the tune of over $100,000. It's crazy. It's really crazy for me, like how different this place looks in just 24 hours from now. It'll look totally different. This is my day job. This is my livelihood, what I do. It's also my passion. Here I am, $20,000 under what I normally am. I was the pro-pot person. I was the champion for it on Main Street. And now I wonder, am I causing this? I have taken this pro-marijuana stance pretty far, and I've also had conversations and comments. A man I really respect, he came up to me at an orchestra concert and got right in my face and was like, "You are an idiot, and you're ruining our town, and I don't like what you're doing on council, so here, let me target your day job." I see them as threats. People that supported my campaign, they won't even look at me now. I do worry about how this affects me, my daughter. It keeps me up at night, for sure. I also don't think, no matter what kind of campaign people do, that I'm gonna change my mind. I'm not benefiting from this in any way. Like, I expected Brian and Caitlin to make a much bigger contribution to the foundation than they did. Allie filled out the form and it said 1. I said, "Oh, do you have another form?" And she looked at me and was like, "No." And I was like, huh, still bullshit. It was the sinking heart, you know, here, oh, look what I did for you, and then this is what I get. 3, 2, 1. Raining ducks.
It's gonna be $20 on the dot for it.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, why did I do that? I've been working on the marijuana inventory tracking system. I have to take everything and transfer it into one of our MITS tags. Super annoying and complicated, but I've already found one mistake here that I'm not exactly sure what to do about it. I accidentally put Purple Dream instead of Blue Dream.
The Marijuana Enforcement Division is responsible for implementing a number of programs that licensees will be responsible for: public safety and consumer protection. We have some pretty stringent labeling requirements. We have a system that tracks their inventory from the time they have immature plants till those plants are harvested and then packaged and sent to the point of sale.
They should be accurate. So, like, if you need to do a quick count, feel free to leave the bags as they are and then count the loose cash for a quick solution. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have like some MITS things that we're supposed to be doing. The state system and our point of sale system are not lining up. It's a huge pain in the ass. But it's so important that we do it, because if we don't get it done or we can't figure out the problem, they can shut us down for 30 days and then they decide how they're gonna punish us, which sucks.
Inventory is so hard to keep track of, and right now we have 2 different systems to keep our inventory straight on, and it's difficult. We have every single day's worth of sales in here, and you can click on that day and see exactly what was sold throughout the day. And we do actually use another system as well, BioTrack. BioTrack and MITS communicate with one another so that we can update our sales to the system, which is legally required at the end of every single business day.
I don't really know what to do. I guess we'll find out. I messed up something. It's pretty small. I'm sure it's happened before. Almost everything's perfect except for one thing.
What'd you do?
Oh, the ones that have dots on them are all the ones I had already put on successfully. But I put Purple Dream instead of Blue Dream.
That's fine.
Are you sure?
No.
Eric.
My question is, did you make sure that it says sugar leaf or shake?
You've got to be kidding me.
Say
Eric! Oh my God.
People don't realize the hoops you have to jump through, the rules you have to follow. It is what it is. F it, move on.
Elizabeth Lawrence sent me a text. I'm just gonna read it to you. So she said, any chance to chat later about what's going on? I just haven't heard anything from y'all, and I have no idea where all this is going anymore. Did you know people put in an open records request to see which candidates received money from you? It's gotten so ugly and dirty.
Open records request for money?
Yeah. You know, that the 3 of us who accepted money, now people are saying that it's basically we paid them to vote the way that they're voting, which we know isn't true. We never would have supported a candidate that wasn't supportive of marijuana to begin with, and they actually all supported marijuana before we donated anything.
Here, we just said, are you pro-marijuana? If so, we want you to win.
There are people that are boycotting their annual contribution to the Summit Foundation unless she changes her mind. And also that Erin has had clients pull advertising from the station until she changes her mind. So now these council members are...
Well,
personal lives are being affected.
Do we just... I mean, I'm so tired of all of this. It's kind of messed up that the same people that are trying to say we were affecting the process through corrupt
Making
means.
a campaign donation, and now they're withholding probably way more than $100.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Like, who is behind this?
I need to find that. That's what I want to find out.
Oh, yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Weed lube. Awesome. Cool. I'm definitely going to look into that. So I just got this phone call for a lubrication for your nether regions.
Oh my God.
With weed in.
Who was that?
It gets your genitals high.
Ew.
They're talking about this might be the Viagra for women. I mean, for how many people that come in every day being like, what's the best for sex?
Marijuana definitely heightens your senses, so it would make sense that it would
There's
heighten.
been,
I feel like it makes everything better. You know, why leave sex out?
Boy, you guys crack me up.
All right, so what's the deal? What happened with that lady came in the other day about the council?
So they had a lady come up at the one town council meeting that was a couple weeks ago, and she got up and she was like, I am the spokesperson for all of the dispensaries on Airport Road.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard of certain dispensaries having like negative things to say and stuff, but I didn't know they were conspiring.
They all conspired together. I mean, it's getting personal. Well, it's a good thing that we have a lot of the council members on our side.
We get to keep our jobs.
I know.
Hi, y'all. It's been forever. I like your haircut.
Thank you.
It's cute. Hi.
I'm all stuck in this bench. It's contorted. Come on
How
over.
are you?
Good. How are you doing?
It's so awful, y'all. Like, I don't even know where to begin.
I had no idea.
Mark and I were talking about on Friday, and we were like, they must not even care.
No, we have no idea.
But that, you have to see, that's what we were thinking, right?
Yeah,
Even
I
that
thought this all
clean.
settled into nothing.
You know, Gary Freeze, who spoke at town council, that owns Breck Gallery, and I don't know if y'all have had any conversations with them. So his wife put in a CORA request, which is Colorado Open Records Act request. And I got so inflamed by it, I sat outside her shop and I said, I'm gonna save you some time. You don't even have to look into this. Like, I'm just gonna tell you. Like, yes, they gave me money. She said, well, they paid you off. I'm like, that's not it at all. She said, well, then I feel like I should tell you something. I said, okay. A group of people have got together recently in a party, and they've all decided they're not going to contribute to the Summit Foundation. They're going to withhold their funds.
Specifically.
About me, unless I change my mind. Yeah. So that is a real threat, only because some of the people that are against this, I know what they contribute. It is a huge amount. I mean, we get over $500,000. We're talking like $750,000 a year just off that annual campaign. Yep. But regardless, like, it's unsettling because it's my job.
Yeah.
I have to have a job. Like, I'm a single mom. Like,
Yes,
I have
you
to
do.
have my income.
I mean, no one wants you to lose your job.
No, no. And at first, I was so scared when I heard it, just because of the threat to my job, right? I was so terrified. I was like, I have to change my vote.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought too.
But then I thought, but then that's giving in to them. What happens in a year when someone is upset about our next issue?
And they want to just do that every time.
And they want to do that every time.
Right now, the tides are kind of shifting a little bit. If the council sends it to the voters, Brian has to fight to stay on Main. He didn't want to work with anyone else. So is anyone else, myself, am I going to now stand up behind him and support him in this campaign? Or am I going to support all the money that's anti-marijuana on Main Street? Makes way more sense to me to support the money that's anti-marijuana on Main Street. I get frustrated because our best bet financially is to support no one on Main. But how do you, as a dispensary, come out publicly and be anti-anything marijuana? How do you say, yes, you're right, we shouldn't be on Main Street, we should be hidden away, or we shouldn't be accessible to the community?
Well, I would say to tell your people to get behind having a vote of the people and then to actively campaign against the issue.
Aren't we too late for a vote of the people?
This petition that has 560 signatures on it in like 5 days should provide a clear signal to the council that they need to have a vote of the people.
I guess I'm just hesitant to really believe that despite how many signatures are on a petition, that any of the council members are going to flip at this point.
From my conversations today, I have a different perspective.
Okay.
I think that they're hearing via this petition that there are voices of discontent out there and that they may not necessarily be representing the will of the community to have shops on Main Street.
So my next step would be to make those same phone calls and stand also in support of a vote of the people. Am I surprised that wealthy business owners have less regard for someone else's business? No, that's why they're wealthy business owners. That's how it works. You don't become a wealthy business owner by trying to be nice to everyone.
I have a target on my back specifically.
Right.
And why is that? Do people think I'm weak? Is that why I have a target?
I think it's because you're more vulnerable than anybody else. You're vulnerable from a job perspective, from a life perspective, which is shitty. Like, that is so, so horrible. If you could go back, would you do it different? Would you start over? I mean, that's an impossible question, but would you?
I don't know. It's marijuana and it's not that big of a deal. But now, maybe my personal bees have to be my personal bees, that it's not a big deal. And blah. God, I hate myself currently.
It sucks.
I'm like, do I really want to put my job on the line for a pot shop? No, I don't.
Other than standing up for what's right, what's it worth, right? Who are you fighting for? Brian and Caitlin?
Right. So
What's the harm in just sending it to the voters?
I'm tasked with a business decision.
Just send it to the voters.
Yeah. God, I just feel like things are so unfair right now. I can't say what will happen on Tuesday, but right now, I just want to wash my hands of it.
Right.
And say, let's send it to the voters.
We plan to shut down that garden that we have in Breckenridge. It's entirely too small for what we need, and we can just produce the product here at a much better price per pound. So we don't need the cost of that other garden. It expires in a couple of days now, and we were hoping to just take the plants, from over there to over here. Well, we were told that we just needed written permission from the state, and I've been calling for weeks now to get confirmation of what exactly their protocol was, and they told me that basically it was legally impossible for me to take these plants. We were planning on having 900 plants come from that garden over there here.
Each plant is worth about $500 wholesale or maybe $1,200 retail or something, so each plant.
So it's 1,000 times 900.
$900,000.
$1 million?
So it's almost $1 million worth of potential revenue off of those plants.
Damn it.
We will have a discussion about what to do about that.
I've been reading, I've been reading the petition and reading the
Do
comments.
you refresh it every 10 seconds?
Completely.
Me too.
Just to
Here are the
know.
latest 10.
I've talked about it, and I'm sure you have too, about how this issue turning into a generational thing. Something very generational.
I hear all the time from people, especially on that board. If only you were older, you would understand what you're doing. But these are the people that I work with all the time at my job, and they want to have an opinion, and they feel like they can give me an opinion. What they're passionate about, their orchestra, their arts, and they know that I'm all about that, so that's why they elected me. It seems to be just this one issue that we're so different on and divided. So obviously, I'm worried about my job, only because I'm dependent upon it, just like you are. I know at our last meeting, I was like, absolutely not put it to the voters. I was so adamant against that.
Right.
Obviously, things have changed since then. I mean, I just keep going back and forth, back and forth. I just wonder if that comes up again, where we'll all fall. Or if you think putting it to the voters is okay or not.
I still believe that we're a representative democracy, and that's what we signed up for. We're not going to make everybody happy, that's for sure. That's how I see it.
So then maybe that's our job. We're the elected officials, and it's up to us to make these hard decisions at the risk of putting ourselves on the line. Do we have the stomach for it, I guess, is the question. I think you do more than I.
There is a lot of discussion about Main Street. People really value it here. Obviously, I mean, it's what we put in all of our advertising. It's important to people. People question morality when it comes to marijuana. They question how they were brought up. There's a lot of fear surrounding it.
It's just so much misinformation is what it is. Oh, here's a guy, Joel Bruley. He doesn't live here, by the way. We should impeach town council members Mark Burke, Elizabeth Lawrence, and Aaron Giello, and also boycott their businesses. That's in the petition. I mean, people are vicious on this.
This got out of hand, and it got out of hand fast. The council wasn't going in the right direction. They were the ones that had started this one, saying 1 per block. That's when the town erupted.
I'd like to call to order the Breckenridge Town Council regular meeting for Tuesday, September 9th at 7:38 p.m. Be happy to open up our meeting to citizens' comments. Come on down, Gary. What we'd like you to do is come to the podium, state your name for the record, and we'd like to hear what you have to say.
The Cannabis Club lease was to expire September 1, 2014. This was a non-issue at the time of the Springs Council elections. For the Cannabis Club not to start the relocation process on June 1st, 90 days ahead of that September 1 deadline, raises the ethical question of contact with this council on the extension prior to any public hearings. Through the Freedom of Information Act, my wife, Janet Freeze, accessed the election contributions of newly elected and re-elected town council members. The 3 candidates elected this spring each received a minimum of $500 from the Cannabis Club. It appears that these three candidates did not attempt to recuse themselves prior to any discussion or vote of the Main Street marijuana issue or extension of the BCC lease. These donations, in conjunction with a delayed change of location, appear to be a conflict of interest on the part of this council. At this time, Mayor Warner, we request that the council recuse Mark Burke, Elizabeth Lawrence, and Aaron Giglio from all voting on all Main Street marijuana issues.
I don't think I will, Gary. My understanding of a legal contribution is that if it's legal, it's been reported, there is no conflict of interest if you choose to act in favor or against the proponent who gave you a considerable contribution.
I have no financial gain, whether they stay or leave Airport Road or come on Main Street or anything. To have someone stand up here and speak the way you're speaking, it's offensive, quite frankly.
Gary, I just find it ironic. You yourself, you're a BMF supporter. More than 4 times the amount of my campaign contributions came from people that are current or recent past BMF or Applause board members. And so here in a month, when we talk about our BMF funds for next year, should I recuse myself? Would you like me not to be a part of that conversation? Do you see the correlation?
No, I don't, and I think that's a separate issue. You have chosen to position yourself. Candidly, there's a somewhat biting the hand that's feeding the Summit Foundation currently is an issue.
Gary, I'd like you to...
Well, Gary, that's you and your threats of your friends to my job.
It's just a...
That's
Elizabeth and Mark, I'd like to keep some order here. I appreciate your comments, Gary. I think we should leave it at that. And
Elizabeth asked, and I responded.
Well,
I'll let it be known for the record.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
My name is Brian Rogers, and I would just like to thank the last participant for openly committing a Class 4 felony by intimidating a public official with economic reprisal. That was very nice of you.
Brian,
I would also like to clear the
let's
record.
not be cute, and let's not be sarcastic.
I wouldn't have said a word of it if you hadn't done it. I'm sorry, John.
I didn't threaten any jobs. With regards to Elizabeth, there are people that are extremely unhappy with a position that she's taken. If her job is in jeopardy because of their lack of contributions, interpret that as you may. The charge is there. It's 4,200 voters, approximately, that are out there. And I think every one of those voters are going to be contacted. And the chips will fall where they may. You know, game on.
So what we really have is 2 questions. Who's in favor of a vote, and who's in favor of a moratorium?
I think if we don't take it to the voters in a timely fashion, I think all hell's going to break loose.
You know, that's a reasonable measure to take in this situation. I'm not opposed to it at all.
You know, I think we've done this to ourselves, and anytime that leadership flounders, your community flounders, and everybody's finding a position for themselves. And so I think the best way to address this is get the guidance of the electorate. I have faith in our citizens.
I, for one, am for a vote. This is a chance for our public to react to something that's in paper, that's been written by us, and that is factual.
Let's take it to the voters. Let's figure out the format in which we want to do it. Because otherwise, I'm going to ask to recuse myself from this because I'm going to have a mental breakdown. This is crazy. We are a great soap opera right now.
Well,
these guys filming it are loving this. We got to end this. We got to move on. And I think we're hearing people say, let us weigh in, let us vote on it, in whatever format you want to take it to us. That's where I am.
Gary, I appreciate that. Elizabeth?
A lot of you have heard, you know, the threats against my job and various other things, and I have to have my job and can't risk that. So I think putting it to a vote, even though I still feel the way I voted before is the right way, I feel putting it to the vote is the only thing, my only choice I can do to protect my job. So that's why I'm going that way.
Thanks, everybody, for your thoughts. So our short discussion is over. With that being said, thank you all for being here.
Just because the same vocal 10% has gotten to the point where they're breaking the law by threatening and intimidating council members to vote one way or the other.
The last 3 months, we've been listening to them say fair, 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 fair. Now it's a personal attack against us specifically.
It's completely unfair.
Brian, what's happening? Yeah, man, just doing payroll, getting it done Friday and all.
Nice. We got out of that meeting with MED, and unfortunately, even though they told us when we called earlier that we could transfer these plants
with a special written permission or whatever they wanted, that was apparently not the case, and we cannot transfer plants from one location to the other, only clones.
How many plants do you think you have in there?
Close to 1,800.
So we're gonna have to kill quite a few.
We're gonna have to destroy maybe 20 or 30% of all those plants.
That sucks.
That's a lot of, we've done a, that
Dude,
sucks, man.
That's like my last 3 months of work.
We're still gonna harvest 30 or 35 pounds. At least we're not harvesting 0.
Yeah.
We got winter right around the corner here. Leaves are already changing.
We're gonna be blowing through pounds a day. And now we're killing plants. This isn't good.
I mean, we gotta follow the rules.
This one hurts, man. We put a lot of time in this over here. All of us have.
This is us pioneering a new industry. Learning the rules as we go. Well, let's go get taken care of this then.
Yeah.
$13, $14, $15, $16, $17. So we got 18 times 2, 36 per side.
Okay, all right.
We're talking about hundreds.
We're talking about hundreds of plants now. Yeah, I honestly think we're gonna kill half of these plants maybe. There's not enough space here. We grew enough plants for a 10,000 square foot area, and this place is only 1,600. We were planning on taking all of them over to Oak Creek. There's no way to flower them all. At retail, this is about $1 million worth of plants that we're shredding that we could have had in 60 days. But there's always something.
If Brian loses, or if anyone loses, and there's no more dispensaries on Main Street, who's gonna win? From a business perspective, you can be the cheapest and have the best quality, but this is a tourist market we're fighting for. You have to actually be able to have enough supply to provide them. So we're here at mine and my partner's new warehouse. When I personally really start to look long term, rather than try to set up a franchise of particular dispensaries, my focus at this point and the smart money is on wholesaling. It is always going to be a fight to open a new dispensary, and it's always going to be piddly crap. It's retail. I hate retail. God, it's so much more finished than it was when I was first here.
I know.
I love this industry because it's a gold mine, but I hate retail. I don't want to run 50 dispensaries. I don't want to run 50 liquor stores. I want to be Coors. I want to be Sam Adams. I want to be supplying the 50 liquor stores.
We're hanging the lights right now.
The difference in 2 pounds per light versus 3 pounds per light.
Huge.
At 100 lights, and that's $200,000 every 2 months.
Yep.
So $1 million a year if we can get an extra pound per light.
Right.
So whatever it costs us to bring a consultant in, if that was actually something that worked, is so very valuable. I mean, you can only make so much out of one dispensary. When I'm looking at 5-10 years down the road, when this becomes legal federally, when I can start transporting across state lines, I'm gonna be prepped and ready. I can't walk into every state that legalizes it and open a new dispensary. However, can I just up how much product I'm growing and ship it out to them? Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're in trouble for winter. Thanksgiving, 60 days away. This one's not good.
I feel like you're in a situation where you need to find some friends.
Where's your skin in this game?
I don't have any skin in this game.
We don't have any weed and we don't have any money. This is a kink in our plan.
This is 88% THC.
A gram of shadow is worth double the price of a gram of gold.
I also don't want to be the center of controversy.
That is the biggest load of bullshit. I will challenge the out of you.
I'm like boiling inside just thinking about it.
Everyone is playing everyone.
I'm fed up.
I don't trust any of it.